Hi.
Hi.
We teach love here.
We Teach Love is here. So,
That's
Friday
what we're
Love
going to do.
Fest.
We're going to
We
talk
Teach
about
Love.
self-love today.
Okay.
And we want to check in basically about, and I think we should probably check in with each other on this little 10 minutes,
Yeah.
about how many loving things you've done for yourself in the past, I don't know, what do you want to say, 2 days? Day?
Which is in the past day.
Day?
In the past
Okay, 24 hours. Whew.
How many have you done?
Count them.
Right. It's so much easier to count how many I haven't done that I should have done. But I don't know. I've probably done 5 or 6 loving things.
Can you give a couple? Do you mind sharing?
I don't mind sharing. So I have cooked for myself.
Oh, nice.
And made myself like something that was really like good for me instead of like going and getting something, which doesn't have to not be loving, but for me
In this case it was.
In this case that was like, let me do this for myself.
Yeah.
Letting myself rest and not shaming myself about it. Like, I'm tired and that has to be okay.
Yeah.
Like not forcing myself to be so productive. It's another one that I would share. Doing laundry.
Oh yeah. That's a good one. I like that one for self-care. Yeah.
It's part of the reason that I wanted to talk about this is because I've been realizing recently how involved we are as people. Like, there's a lot that it takes to take care of yourself and to love yourself. It's if you could just sit and think about every day what you have to do, like getting enough rest, drinking enough water. That's another thing that I did that was loving. If you just went through your whole day and just thought about what do I need to do to be loving toward myself and to care for myself, and not thinking about friends and family, not thinking about what do I have to do to pay bills, and what do I have to, that's enough to fill your day.
Oh yeah.
It really is. And so to me, it's really important that we think about it, especially because we're always so like outwardly focused on like, well, what have you done that's loving for your partner or your friend or your mom? And it's like, there's never this like...
Who's asking you about what you've done
like,
for
am
you?
I doing those things for myself? So what's some of yours?
I cried.
That's good.
I cried a lot, and that felt really good.
Mm-hmm.
It was also really hard, but it was like I let myself, because typically I would have been like, pull your crap together, and I had a really good reason to cry, so I was like, no, it's okay. I should cry.
Release.
And I like didn't stop myself when I started to do it in places that it would have been not appropriate, according to me before.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, it's okay. We're gonna let it happen. And it's gonna be all right.
Yeah, that's extremely loving.
Yeah, and it was hard. I will be honest, it was hard. Mm-hmm. I wanted to punch myself in the face, like I was like mad at myself, like stop it, pull it together. Then I was like, no, don't.
You would have been giving yourself another reason to cry.
Right, exactly. So that was good, hard and good.
Yeah.
And now, especially looking back, I'm like, oh, I think I needed to let all that out.
Yeah.
I also have rested a lot the last couple days. I've actually like had things to do and been like, ooh, I can't. Mm-hmm. Like, we're gonna not today, and I'm gonna sleep.
Yeah.
So that's been good. I said no to picking up an extra shift at a job. I was like, I should.
Yeah.
But no, I won't.
Yeah.
I went outside and watched a soccer game, which I'm a big fan. I've become a big fan of GW soccer lately, and so go GW. I won't say your mascot because I think it's incredibly white, but I like your soccer team. So I did that. Those are probably the big things that I've done.
You know what I think is interesting about what you said is like these loving things you did. You were saying like, and that was hard.
That was hard.
And I think that's kind of a huge thing that we overlook is like loving is not necessarily an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Loving yourself, loving other people is not necessarily an easy thing. And so I I think oftentimes, like, not to get, too off track, but oftentimes we do think that loving whoever, including ourselves, should be easy. And if it's not easy, then it's not really love. And like, we romanticize the idea that, like, it should be easy. It should always feel good. It should always just be something I want to do, or there's something wrong. And it's like, no, loving
It's complicated.
is
well, it's
challenging.
simple. We are complicated, right?
It's
So,
a simple thing to
it's a
do,
simple
but
thing
it's
to
not
do.
an easy thing to do.
But then we as humans, like, start to overcomplicate it with our stuff, right? And then we do the same thing with self-love, right? We know, like, hey, I need this time, I need a minute, I need to do these things for myself, and then we're like, oh, but I can't because I've got this and I've got that and this box to check, and so needs me, and oh, my phone just rang and somebody else needs me, and I gotta work, and we find all these reasons to make it more complicated to find time to take a nap.
and I think we feel guilty about taking time to love ourselves and to do things that are loving for ourselves because we're supposed to be loving other people. Like,
and on the flip of that, we feel purposeful when we sacrifice our self-love to give time and energy to other things.
People.
So we're like, we reward that. We think that's valuable. We're like, well, look at how generous I'm being.
Right.
And that's great, and generosity is cool, and, like, to give of your resources when you have them available is awesome. But to deplete yourself to give of your resources is foolish and dangerous.
So this reminds me of growing up in church, which I'm not religious anymore, but there's some good stuff there. And
like you're not Catholic, right?
No.
But that's like what all the Catholics, like the Catholic line. And I grew up Catholic. They're not currently Catholic. I grew up Catholic.
Right. And so one of the things I often think about is the scripture that says, love thy neighbor as thyself. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times it's abbreviated as love thy neighbor. And the focus becomes, well, what do you do to, one, recognize people in the world as your neighbor, and then what do you do to show love towards them? But what I think is missing is that the actual commandment, the scripture, is that you're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself, meaning you're supposed to love yourself.
Mm-hmm. And then you're supposed to do that to other people the way you did it for you. But if you don't do it for you, then I don't know how you're supposed to do it.
Right. Like, that's actually supposed to come before the loving the neighbor part. So when you're talking about, like, being generous and how we, like, reward ourselves and we reward people for how selfless they are, that's actually not how it's supposed to go. You are supposed to take care of yourself, love yourself. You are supposed to be doing maybe more loving things for yourself than you're doing for other people. Not to say you're not doing anything for others, but, like, it starts with you and then you go outward. So I feel like that's often missed. Even when people are saying it, it's like, love your neighbor. And it's like, but there's more to it than that. It doesn't end there. And so, hopefully we're giving you encouragement, permission if you need it, to love you first.
Yeah, and I would say, like, think of it as if you're uncomfortable with the idea of, like, putting yourself first. Like, I know parents sometimes have trouble with that. Leaders of companies maybe have trouble with that. Leaders of teams. Instead of, if you need help thinking of it differently, maybe think of, like, the way you're loving yourself as practice for how you get to go then love others.
Yeah.
Like, get good at it. Learn new ways to love yourself. Learn new things to do that feel like treating yourself, and then get creative about how you pay that forward to the next person and your neighbors.
Yeah. I like that. It's practice.
It's practice. You gotta know how to do it before you go do it for somebody else. And and I also think that in that is a concept of oneness. So if you exclude yourself from the oneness of your neighbor, then you're not doing it right. Right. We are all one, and you have to take care of you in order to take care of me, and I myself to take care of you.
Exactly.
So it's a gift to you when I check myself and nurture myself.
Right.
So you're welcome.
This is all a gift.
It's all a gift, basically. All those tears I cried, all that sleep I got, you're welcome.
It's for everyone else. So we teach love.
We teach
Happy
love.
Friday.